Welcome to Organized Chaos, the podcast dedicated to helping seven-figure companies grow to nine-figure ones by turning HR into rocket fuel for their growth. I'm your host, Nahat Kairala, and I've been helping companies do just that for more than a decade. In each episode, I'll dive into HR topics that have a significant impact on your company's growth and leave you with actionable advice that will help your business reach its full potential. Let's dive right in and start organizing all that HR chaos. Hello and welcome to episode 7. Today, I'm tackling a topic that's close to every entrepreneur's heart: how to build a highly productive company and maintain that as you scale. You know, when you start a business, it's like being the captain of a small sailboat. You're closely involved in everything, steering with one hand and adjusting the sails with the other. But as your team grows, that sailboat starts to feel more like a cruise ship. Suddenly, steering isn't so simple, and you need a crew you can trust to keep things on course. But many startups stumble when they get to around 40 to 50 employees, because informal processes that worked for smaller teams become less effective. Apart from implementing more formal processes, culture initiatives, and management structures, there are 6 areas that founders should address to improve productivity. First up, focus on one big goal at a time. It's tempting to chase every shiny opportunity that comes your way. I mean, who doesn't want to build the next all-in-one product that revolutionizes multiple industries at once? But here's the thing: trying to do too much can scatter your team's efforts and dilute your impact. Think of it like trying to learn 5 musical instruments at the same time. Sure, it's possible, but you're more likely to become a master of none. By zeroing in on one significant goal, you align your team's efforts and create a unified direction. This becomes even more crucial as your team grows beyond 50 people, where coordination becomes a game changer. When teams are all working towards a common goal, your company's productivity goes up and everyone is doing work that matters, work that contributes to your company's strategy. For example, if your main focus today is growing your user base, then anything that doesn't help you do that is work that you shouldn't do right now. You don't grow fast by doing many things, but by doing one thing extremely well. Second, design work processes that make sense for your organization. This isn't about copying what the big players are doing or sticking rigidly to how you've always operated. It's about analyzing your own work processes, identifying what creates value and what doesn't. Challenge the status quo. Are there unnecessary hurdles slowing you down? Bottlenecks that frustrate your team? Address these issues early. The larger your company becomes, the harder it is to implement change without causing a massive disruption. Imagine trying to rewire a house while hosting a dinner party. Not ideal, right? When you're thinking about your work processes, try asking yourself some of the following questions. In an ideal world, how would we want to do work and why? What do we need to do to meet our customers' expectations? Is there anything we currently do that adds no value to our work output? Are there any stages in the process that we cannot automate and why? Questions like these will help you approach work design in a purposeful way. Decisions like whether you should be a remote or hybrid company also fall under this category. If you'd like to hear my thoughts on this, then check out episodes 5 and 6. Next is item number 3. Be explicit about your communication channels. In the early days, it might have been fine to shout updates across the office or send a quick instant message. But as your team expands, clarity in communication becomes vital. Define where different types of communication should happen. For instance, all action items from meetings go into a shared Google Doc. If it's not documented there, it doesn't exist. Enforce this consistently. Create guidelines and onboard both current and new team members. When everyone knows where to find information and how to share it, you reduce misunderstandings and increase accountability. In practice, this is a lot harder than it sounds, and it gets harder as your company grows in headcount. When I'm working with clients, this is one of the first things I recommend very early on, even if the company only employs 10 people. Ingraining these habits into your employees from the early days will ensure that they are passed on to new joiners as your business grows. An effective way to enforce the use of proper communication channels is to empower all employees to say no to requests that do not follow the established protocols. When employees see that their requests will not be considered, they will immediately fall in line because otherwise they'll stick out like a sore thumb. Now let's talk about number 4, embracing technology. When workloads increase, the instinctive response might be to hire more people. But adding to your headcount isn't always the best first move. It's actually one of the worst moves that many founders make in their startup journey. The first thing you need to do is evaluate whether the workload is due to process inefficiencies, uneven capacity among team members, or skill gaps. You should try to leverage technology to do 3 things. 1. Eliminate redundant tasks. If something doesn't add value or you can't articulate why it exists, then it's time to let it go. 2. Templatize recurring work. Make the repetitive stuff easier by creating templates. This will save your employees time and boost productivity. 3. Automate where possible. Use tools and software to handle black and white decisions, freeing up your team for tasks that require a human touch. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room, AI. Your employees are probably already using AI tools in some form. Be proactive. Set guidelines on how AI should be used within your organization. Define what's acceptable and what's not, and ensure that everyone is on the same page. AI can significantly boost productivity if used wisely. I like to think of AI as an extension of employees because it takes their capabilities and puts them into overdrive. Number 5, focus on outcomes, not activities. It's easy to equate busyness with productivity, but they're not the same thing. Work with your team to set clear, measurable goals. It's about the results they achieve, not the number of hours they log or the tasks they check off a list. This mindset shift empowers your team to work more efficiently and take ownership of their roles. Let go of your need to control how employees do their work and trust them to get the job done. If you've implemented anything I talked about in this episode, then your team will already have clear direction on how work can be done and they'll take ownership. Micromanagement is a quick way to demotivate your team and crash your company's productivity to the ground. Instead, hold people accountable for the results. If an employee has a different method to achieve the desired outcome and it works, let them run with it. This not only fosters innovation, but also shows that you value their expertise and judgment. Finally, track capacity metrics to optimize your team's size and well-being. Invest time in understanding how much effort goes into producing your company's outputs. For example, how many hours does it take to code a feature or process an order? This data helps you identify when your team is reaching full capacity. If I know that my Scrum team can deliver a total of X story points in a 2-week sprint, then I'll know how much work my team can handle in a given time. This also means that I'll have a clear idea of when I need to increase the size of my team. By monitoring capacity metrics, you can also prevent burnout, a common pitfall in the startup world where hustle culture is often glorified. Knowing when to expand your team becomes a strategic decision based on actual needs rather than guesswork. Remember, a well-rested team is more creative and productive. Building a productive team as you scale isn't about implementing the latest fads or mimicking other companies. It's about understanding your unique dynamics and making intentional choices. So to recap, focus on one big goal at a time. Design work processes that suit your organization. Be explicit and consistent with communication channels. Embrace technology and consider AI thoughtfully. Focus on your team's outcomes, not their activities, and track capacity to optimize team size and prevent burnout. By applying these principles, you'll not only streamline your operations, but also create a positive work environment where your team can thrive. That's all for this week's episode. In the next episode, I'll address the topic that founders ask me a lot about, and that is the decision of having HR in-house or outsourced. During this episode, I'll talk about the advantages and disadvantages of each and give you a framework for deciding which model works best for your company. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a review wherever you get your podcasts. This will help me spread the word about organized chaos and keep the show going. If you have any questions or topics you'd like to suggest for the show, please send me an email to hello@organizedchaos.fyi. For more content and resources, make sure to check out the website at organizedchaos.fyi. See you on the next one.